The man in this story didn't think he had made a single wrong decision in his life. In fact, he was secretly proud of it. He had never run a red light. He paid his taxes on time, and he never intentionally broke anyone's heart. He had a good job. His desk was always organized. He followed the rules. He was a man who caused no harm to anyone. Every morning, at exactly 7 o'clock, he woke up to the first beep of his alarm. He drank the same brand of coffee, took the same route to work. And every morning he gave the security guard the same distant but polite smile and said, "Good morning." When speaking with people, he always chose the safest sentences. He would say, "We'll handle it," or "You're right." From the outside, everything was in its place. Perfect, like a catalog chute, ticking away like the gears of a fine watch. And yet, things began to fall apart. His life didn't explode all at once. It disintegrated slowly, like a piece of paper gradually turning yellow and brittle. Because the biggest mistake he made was, in fact, something he didn't do. A silent mistake that no one could see, and one that even he didn't notice for years. He had built his life on the word right. But this right wasn't actually his own. It belonged to society, his family, and his boss. He graduated from the right school, got a job with the right salary, and memorized the right patterns of behavior. He didn't take risks. Taking a risk meant leaving the safe harbor. He never raised his voice. Raising one's voice meant losing control. He avoided causing trouble or being an inconvenience as if it were a plague. Everyone around him liked him. They would say, "What a decent, what a gentlemanly man. You'll never have a problem with him." But no one ever asked him, "How are you, really?" Because he had learned never to show his true face to anyone, carrying his mask like a suit of armor. At night, when he lay in bed, there were storms passing through his mind. Places he wanted to go, harsh words he wanted to say, dreams he wanted to realize. But he always postponed them to a suitable time, which, in reality, was that other day that would never come. Over time, those tiny cracks in his soul began to surface. But they were so faint that no one took them seriously. At work, his opinions were asked for in meetings. He actually had brilliant ideas, but he would only speak the middle ground that the majority would accept. Even when he realized he wasn't being listened to, he remained silent. What does it matter anyway? He would think. Something was missing in his relationships. A passion, a depth, a real connection. But he told himself, it's safer this way. He didn't argue because arguing meant risk. He didn't fight because fighting brought the necessity of change. Every time, with every internal scream, he whispered the same toxic sentence. Now is not the time. Maybe later. The problems didn't grow like an avalanche. They accumulated like a layer of dust. A little more every day, a little more with every silence. And remember, the heaviest things in this world are those that accumulate drop by drop. The most dangerous burdens are the ones you don't even realize you are carrying. And one day, the expected big explosion never happened. There was no disaster. He didn't go bankrupt, he wasn't fired, he wasn't left behind. He simply woke up on a Tuesday morning. He opened the curtains, looked at the street, and felt that life had completely drained out of him. It was as if the bond between his soul and his body had snapped. He felt alienated from his work. That desk, that computer, now felt like a prison. He had become distant from people. The faces of his loved ones, the voices of his friends reached him as if from a very distant radio frequency. Worse, he had become a stranger to himself. He no longer recognized the man he saw when he looked in the mirror. He had done everything right. He hadn't made a single mistake. But in truth, he had never really chosen anything. He hadn't rowed against the current. He had simply drifted to where the current took him, to the safest shore. And it was on that dark morning he realized his life was merely a sum of other people's expectations. And he was just an extra in that total. The human mind is evolutionarily programmed for survival, and avoiding conflict is the easiest way to survive. But in the modern world, avoiding conflict is not always safe. In psychology, this is called passive compliance. Staying silent so as not to cause trouble. Submitting so as not to disturb the order. Sacrificing a piece of yourself every day for the sake of fitting in. This strategy brings peace in the short term. You don't fight at dinner. You don't stand out at work. But in the long run, this behavior rots a person from the inside out. Every suppressed emotion, every unspoken word accumulates in the body, because suppressed things never truly disappear. They only go deeper and turn into a toxic energy there. Invisible wounds are much harder to heal than bleeding ones. The man in this story didn't die. He didn't lose his life. But something much more painful happened. He lost himself. He forgot who he was, what he loved, and what he was fighting for. This situation is often not noticed by society. In fact, it is even praised. People say, "What a harmonious, what a calm person." But this is the true tragedy. Those silent collapses where everything looks fine from the outside. Remember, some lives are not ruined by great sins, wrong decisions, or bad steps. Some lives are ruined by decisions never made, words never spoken, and reactions never shown. Now, take an honest look at yourself. Just because everything is on track doesn't mean everything is right. What is that invisible, silent mistake in your life? What did you give up on saying today? Which decision of yours did you leave for later?